What's up guys, Magic Knives here, and in today's video I'm bringing to you some Modern Warfare 2 AR-15 gameplay, otherwise known as the FTAC Recon in the game, which is basically the dubbed version of the AR-15, or that's how they dubbed it, I mean. So yeah, I actually am a really big fan of this rifle. I love semi-automatic rifles in COD, if I'm being honest, because it's basically a nice DMR roll that you can have. It's really nice. So yeah, I've gotten a lot of good kill streaks with this and gameplays. So this is just the one that I ended up saving. So we're recording. So it's a really good gun, guys. Like, if you don't already, like, I've gotten like a really nice setup with this, with suppressor, the scope that I have here, which you can switch it between like a red dot or 4 times magnification, 15 round magazine, red 1 milliwatt laser, and I think just the stock that I switched out. And yeah, so it's really great. So, but yeah, on to the main topic at hand with this gameplay commentary. Ever since last year being 2022, I believe it was around, CBSA, Canada Border Security Association or Agency, has really been cracking down on airsofters in Canada as of lately, and unfortunately I have become one of those victims, unfortunately, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. But first and foremost, I should tell you guys, if you are a airsofter in Canada, please, like, I've already kind of mentioned this in the previous commentary, which I will link in the description of this video for you to listen to it too, so you can kind of listen to the origins of the story. But basically, try your best to buy your airsoft guns within Canada, and be careful when buying airsoft stuff or guns outside of Canada, unless of course it meets the Canadian FPS requirement of minimum 366 feet per second, which of course is very stupid. It's really like a really stupid law that we have in place. If you don't know already, Canada has this really weird and stupid import law when it comes to airsoft, that any airsoft guns coming into Canada have to shoot between 366 FPS to 500 feet per second, or FPS, in order for it to be legally imported. The only exception to that is obviously if you have an import license as a retailer, or as an airsoft retailer. So as a just everyday civilian, you can't like just buy airsoft guns that don't meet that requirement. Now, previously, the way you could get around that, or kind of the way you could get around that law, was that you could actually order airsoft parts, or have the guns disassembled and then have them shipped to you, and then you would just have to reassemble it yourself. That was still allowed a couple years back. Like, I did that for a couple of my airsoft pistols and I had no issues. But then ever since last year, especially since of the rising crackdown of the Liberal government trying to ban more firearms as well as airsoft, they've been cracking down harder with the way CBSA and just with as far as everything gun related. So they're being a lot more stricter now. So unfortunately, 2 of my airsoft purchases from last year have been seized. I already knew it kind of going forth, or when I started, like a couple months went by and I wasn't getting any updates in regards to my orders, because they were like Glock 18 C parts, like a lower frame and I believe a slide, as well as a USP 9 slide, or sorry, lower frame, because it's already so hard to get airsoft parts here in Canada, right? So it's like, if you can't get the parts, how are you gonna keep going? And because of that, I already knew we was getting seized. But finally, earlier this year, I got 2 letters that both of my airsoft orders were seized. And on top of that, about almost a month later, which is now a couple weeks ago or a week ago, CBSA showed up at my door. Yeah, they showed up at my door to basically give me a huge slap on the wrist, or to tell me that I am now red flagged for 2 years, essentially. And yeah, by the way, they were pretty clueless about it, because they were giving me the whole airsoft parts can be converted into real firearms, and like, that's complete bullshit. And it's clear that it's pretty obvious that CBSA officers, or a lot of them, have no clue about airsoft, and they're just believing the bullshit that the liberal government feeds them. And on top of that, one of the CBSA officers that was talking to me was like, "Smarten up, man." And to myself, I'm like, dude, it's not about me smartening up, it's about how you guys choose to alter what you allow and don't allow. And here I am having to figure out what is allowed and what isn't allowed to import, because technically we are allowed to import airsoft parts, and it has nothing to do with the fact that it can be used on real firearms. Like, even if you could take all the effort to put airsoft parts onto a real firearm, that's like not even 1 or 10% of the actual main problem, which is the fact that these people are making real illegal firearms. And like, here we are, we're just people like enjoying a simple hobby, shooting plastic BBs and such. Like, why are we the priority over people that actually do illegal shit and make real firearms, or convert or make illegal firearms? Like, it's just stupid. It's not about me smartening up. It's about how you choose to interpret or alter what you deem is legal or illegal, and just punish law-abiding citizens like myself, who just want to enjoy a simple, fun hobby that's perfectly safe and legal with the smart-minded airsoft people. So yeah, unfortunately, I got a slap on the wrist from the CBSA, that I have to be extra careful now when I'm buying stuff overseas, especially airsoft stuff. And I mean, honestly, it doesn't really matter anyways, because especially with the restrictions that they've changed now, in regards to importing airsoft, it just seems like even if they didn't red flag me, it wouldn't have changed anything, honestly, because I still would have to be extra careful regardless, because they're now being more strict of what's allowed and what's not allowed into Canada. Basically, anything that looks like a real firearm or firearm part, it's very likely it'll be seized or just kind of held by customs longer than usual before you receive it, and that's just been the case as of lately. So yeah, that's the long and the short of it, guys. Be careful now, especially now, as a Canadian, and if you're an airsofter and you're needing parts. I would avoid buying guns that are hard to get and they don't have a lot of spare parts, so that way you avoid running into these issues that you're gonna be stretched thin as far as finding like spare parts for it and such. I would also suggest, depending on which airsoft retailer you buy from, or what airsoft guns you're looking for, even if the gun that you're interested in doesn't meet the Canadian FPS requirements, sometimes you can get lucky. They can provide power upgrades for you, so that it meets the Canadian FPS requirement. For example, if it's an AEG, they can simply change the spring out for you with an additional fee, of course, and then therefore it'll be legal to import into Canada. Not all airsoft sites will do this alternate option if it's a gas blowback pistol, for example, but you can also, depending on the airsoft retailer, you could even ask them to just simply switch the inner barrel out and have an extended barrel attached to the airsoft gun so that it does meet the 366 FPS requirement, and also keep the original barrel in the package, so that way once you receive the gun, you just gotta switch the inner barrel out. See, literally guys, it's literally not that hard to just simply get around the law. Like, even now that it's becoming more stricter with how CBSA is cracking down on airsoft guns and airsofters, like, it's literally only takes these 2 steps to get around the law. Like, it's still a risk, but it's just dependent. It all comes down to the CBSA officer themselves and who is examining it and how much they truly know about airsoft, and whether they can, you know, respect it or not. So yeah, those are the 2 options, really. Like, you know, it's either a AEG spring upgrade, or if in the case of a gas blowback pistol or something like that, you could get lucky if the airsoft retailer that you want to buy it from is willing to, you know, just throw in a longer inner barrel to increase the FPS and keep the original barrel in as well. So once you receive it, you can just simply swap it out for the original one once you receive it. So, and honestly guys, like, until something changes for the better, like, you know, if we're lucky enough that if an election does happen this year of 2023 and the conservative leader Pierre Poilievre like managed to finally kick Trudeau out of Parliament, maybe he'll keep his word. Maybe he'll help all the Canadian firearm owners and the communities, help them get their AR-15s back and their handguns, like, being able to purchase and everything again for all new gun owners. And on top of that, like, you know, let us airsofters have more freedom of what we're allowed to purchase for airsoft and what we're allowed to import. You know, like, there's a lot of good guns that out in the market, including by Tokyo Marui, that we're not able to get simply because they don't meet the FPS requirement, right? Or they're harder to get because of that. So yeah, honestly, they should just get rid of the stupid 366 FPS rule. I hate having to keep bringing it up again, but it's always a part of our Canadian FPS, our airsoft laws in Canada, which is just ridiculous. So yeah, that's the moral of the story, guys. Be careful when buying airsoft as a Canadian right now. Otherwise, CBSA might be coming to knock at your door at some point. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in my future videos. Till next time, peace out, guys.